Jai Shri Krishna, Chapter 2, Text 52 to 61. Yada te moho kalilam buddhirvyatitarishati tada gantasi nirvedam srotavyasya srutasya cheh. Translation: when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been here and all that is to be here. Text 53. Shruti vipratipanna te yada sthashyati nishala samadhavachala buddhistada yogam vapashyasi. Translation: when your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trends of self realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Purport: to say that one is in samadhi is to say that one has fully realized Krishna consciousness, that is, one in full samadhi has realized Brahm, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. The highest perfection of self realization is to understand that one is eternally the servitor of Krishna and that one's only business is to discharge one's duties in Krishna consciousness. A Krishna conscious person or unflinching devotee of the Lord should not be disturbed by the flowery language of the Veda, nor be engaged in fruitive activities for promotion to the heavenly kingdom. In Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into communion with Krishna, and thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in their transcendental state. One is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. Text 54. Arjuna Vach. स्थित प्रगस्य का भाषा समाधिस्थ तस्य केशव स्ततहि किम प्रभाषेत किमासीत व्रजेत किम. Translation: Arjuna said, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak and what is his language? How does he sit and how does he walk? Purport: as there are symptoms for each and every man in terms of his particular situation, similarly, one who is Krishna conscious has his particular nature, talking, walking, thinking, feeling, etc. As a rich man has his symptoms by which he is known as a rich man, as a diseased man has his symptoms by which he is known as diseased, or as a learned man has his symptoms, so a man is transcendental consciousness of Krishna has specific symptoms in various dealings. One can know his specific symptoms from the Bhagavad Gita. Most important is how the man is Krishna consciousness speaks, for speech is the most important quality of any man. It is said that a food is undiscovered as long as he does not speak, and certainly a well dressed food cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only of Krishna and of matters relating to him. Other symptoms then automatically follow as stated below. Text 55. Shri Bhagwan was Prejahati yada kaman sarvan parth manogatan atmanevatmana tushtha sthit pragyastada uchyate. Translation. The blessed Lord said, O Pratha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desire which arise from mental connection, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Text 56. दुःखेषु अनुद्विग्नमनः सुखेषु विगतस्परः वीतरागभयक्रोध स्तुतिर्मुनिरुच्यते. Translation. One who is not disturbed in spite of the threefold miseries, who is not elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger is called a sage of steady mind. Text 57. ये सर्वत्रान्भिस्नेस्तत्तत्प्रापे शुभाशुभम् न अभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. Translation. He who is without attachment, who does not rejoice when he obtains good, nor lament when he obtains evil, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. Purport. There is always some upheaval in the material world which may be good or evil. One who is not agitated by such material upheavals, who is unaffected by good and evil, is to be understood to be fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one is in the material world, there is always the possibility of good and evil because this world is full of duality. But one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness is not affected by good and evil because he is simply concerned with Krishna, who is all good absolute. Such consciousness in Krishna situates one in a perfect transcendental position called technically samadhi. Text 58. Yada se harte se ayam kurmo anganiv sarvasah indriyani indriyarthabhyastasya pragya pratisthitaha. Translation. One who is able to withdraw his sense from sense objects as the tortoise draws his limbs within the shell, is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge. Text 59. विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिने रसवर्जे रसो अपि यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते. Translation. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains, but seizing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in consciousness. Text 60. यततो हि अपि कोन्ते पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः. Translation. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Text 61. तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत् मत्पर वशे हि यस्य इन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. Translation. One who restrains his senses and fixed his consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence. Purport. That the highest conception of yoga perfection is Krishna consciousness is clearly explained in this verse. And unless one is Krishna conscious, it is not at all possible to control the senses as seated above the great sage Durvasa Muni picked a quarrel with Maharaja Amrish, and Durvasa Muni unnecessarily became angry out of pride and therefore could not check his senses. On the other hand, the king, although not as powerful yogi as the sage, but a devotee of the Lord, silently tolerated all the sage's injustices and thereby emerged victorious. The king was able to control his senses because of the following qualifications as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. King Amrish fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, engaged his words in describing the award of the Lord, his hands in clearing the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, his eyes is seeing the form of the Lord, his body in touching the body of the devotee, his nostrils in smelling the flavor of the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulsi leaves offered to him, his legs in traveling to the holy place where his temple is situated, his head in offering obeisances into unto the Lord, and his desires in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. And all these qualifications made him fit to become a Mathura devotee of the Lord. Jai Sri Krishna.